Get ready for this one. A bias response team is now in place at the University of Michigan. It encourages students to report on their peers if they feel they are a target of bias. The college then investigates. Here's their explanation. Bias comes in many forms. It can be a hurtful action based on who someone is as a person. The most important indication of bias is your own feelings. Joining us is Cabot Phillips, media director for campusreform.org. How do you feel about this, Cabot?
Well, the college is clearly very concerned with feelings. I wish they were a little more concerned with freedom, freedom of speech, freedom of expression. This is another example of universities doing more to capitulate to people's feelings and perceived, grievances with students' words. They should be teaching students how to cope with things that make them a little uncomfortable, not teaching them that their first reaction ought to be to go rat out their friends. Anonymously, by the way, you can report your fellow peers anonymously. It feels like a witch hunt.
That's a bit confusing to me.
And also, students should be able to know if someone is reporting them who is doing it so that you can have a chance to actually defend yourself. But many students here, they're being taught the wrong message that free speech only goes so far as feelings don't get involved.
And University of Michigan, major American university, big university, but this isn't the only one. More than 200 American campuses have established similar administrative offices. This is not new.
I wish universities were more concerned with the bias going on in the classroom from professors and a little bit less concerned with the bias from students on campus talking. But we reported all the time at the Leadership Institute's Campus Forum over 200 bias response teams for people saying, well, what is a biased word? What does that even consist of? That's the thing. Many times it's just up to a whim of an administrator or a student to decide what makes them feel biased. We've reported some cases students were punished for using patriotic imagery that was biased against students that maybe weren't of American descent. Up at the University of New Hampshire, there was a kerfuffle over the American flag and people saying that that was a little bit too offensive and biased against students that didn't consider themselves to be natural-born Americans.
All right, so a lawsuit's already been filed in this particular case, saying this all goes against the First Amendment.
And it does. This is the way to create change many times. Students need to know that they have legal rights, they have constitutional rights. They don't have to check them when they go to school. Lawsuit can be the only way to really hold a school accountable and make them change.
So now, if you're already shocked by a lot of this, how about this part of it? Students found responsible for a bias incident face discipline, which ranges from training sessions to suspension or expulsion. What do they have to say when they're found responsible for a bias incident?
The university punishes students based on how controversial or offensive their words are. Well, by nature, the most controversial ideas will be the ones that are least present. And in college campuses, it's overwhelmingly conservative ideas that are not present. So it's going to be conservative students that are facing the blunt of this. And if it's any student, it doesn't matter political affiliation, no student should have to fear bringing up ideas people a little uncomfortable. How can you have a university? How can you have an environment that is fostering discussion, a marketplace of ideas? If students are saying, I don't really want to go there in this conversation, even if it could educate people because they're worried about getting reported by their peers and getting in trouble.
Do you get the sense that there's going to be a big fight back against this? I mean, we're talking about this one particular lawsuit, but...
Well, legally, the university, I have a feeling, is going to have to capitulate. They're going to have to bow down to this because they're going to have to protect constitutional rights of students and also due process. But around the country, I think many students are starting to get fed up with the way that universities are treating them, and it's going to take students beginning to realize, hey, we have rights. We're not going to let the university take them away from us.
The bias response team. That's unbelievable. Cabot Phillips, thank you.
Wonder if they're doing that at Miami of Ohio. Wonder if they're doing that at LSU. We need to check in.
It's everywhere.
I'll have to check on that and get back to you.
But I mean, if Michigan's got a problem, two other schools are doing it.
Yeah,
that we know of.
That we know of. I think there's a lot more that people just don't even bring to light.
How do you define bias?
That's the thing. Who gets to define what bias is?
Take it to the judge. Breaking over.